going on, everybody? We are back, and we have the Lakers recap this time. Last time I talked about the Lakers, it was when the NBA season was announced back, and it was after their very first night of basketball. So I'm just bringing my bubble recap now of those 8 games in total, and I have today with me my friend Patrick. So introduce yourself.
Hi, Patrick. Ready to talk some basketball?
Yeah, he watched a lot. I wouldn't say every game, but a lot of the games. A lot. I watched every single Lakers game, but in terms of all of them, I watched a majority, but not. I wouldn't say nearly as much as you. So
Yeah, I try to get a good idea of just what all the teams, all like the relevant teams at least.
yeah. So we definitely watched a good amount of the games. So I feel like our recap is pretty knowledgeable in terms of just because we watched a lot of the games there, so we were able to see kind of what was going on. But for the first part of this video, I'm just going to be recapping the Lakers primarily, just because that is my team, and then we'll jump into our first round playoff picks. Just for the first round, we'll probably do a round by round, but we'll just start off with the first round for now. So we'll jump right into it. So for the Lakers, so I know, Patrick, you watched a decent amount of the Lakers games as well. I know you mentioned before this, like the Blazers primarily were who you were watching because they were the most entertaining.
So much
But
fun.
yeah, but the Lakers, I the thing is, so they were 3-5 in the 8 games, right? They weren't that good. They actually looked pretty bad at times. I believe before the Nuggets game, they were the only team in the bubble to be averaging under 100 points scoring offensively, which is horrible in this day and age
Everyone's scoring like
basketball.
120 a game in the
Yeah,
bubble.
exactly. If you're not scoring over 100 nowadays, that's a yikes. So we were pretty bad. We did turn it around those last 2 games, but the reason I'm not overly concerned is because it was the bubble. We had locked up the first seed after the Utah game, which was the 3rd game of the 8. So it was basically just a ramp up period for the Lakers. So, and if you watched all the games, like every other night, LeBron was out, AD was out, several guys were out. We didn't have Rondo. I believe he's coming back. I mean, he's not a lifesaver, but he is coming back.
You guys are
Um,
also missing two-way dynamo Avery Bradley,
Yeah, exactly.
the
That
king.
okay. That's probably my biggest take is fellow Lakers fans. Let me know how you guys feel about it as well. That was the most annoying thing every single game. It was nonstop. Lakers don't have Avery Bradley. That's a huge miss. Like they're missing him so much. All game long they would just make little like nuggets or little like tidbits here and there about how we don't
Eastern
have.
Conference finalist Avery Bradley.
Yeah, it got so annoying. Like yes, he's a great defender. I'll give him that. But he's not amazing. It's not like he wasn't even like our 5th best player. So like, I don't know why people were capping big time for Avery Bradley. And it was pretty annoying just watching all the games. Cause like I said, he was mentioned in every game, like 10 plus times, and it's not like he's a star. So that was the one thing that annoyed me the most. But so kind of go back into the us not scoring. So we scored a total of 851 points. I'm pretty sure my math is correct there. That comes out to be an average of 106 a game, which that's not
Not good enough.
terrible. It's not terrible, but yeah, it's not good enough. The problem is we gave up a total of 907, which is an average of 113 a game. So
It's
if you're
probably
not,
average.
yeah, but the thing is though, if you're not scoring, you better be playing defense, and we weren't doing either of those. So, or like not we weren't playing defense at a high, like insane level. So that's the one thing that is concerning. Our offense did not look very good. Even I understand like it was kind of a runway or a revamp period. Our offense though, we besides Kyle Kuzma, I think at one point Danny Green was like 1 for 13 from 3, and like that's just not going to cut it. Like we were shooting absolutely horrible for the first couple of games, and even like towards the back half of the schedule. Our shooting was just pretty bad, which is very scary, just because that's I don't know if you can just flip the switch. What do you kind of think about that, Patrick? Do you think they could
Well,
just
luckily
flip
for
the
you guys,
switch?
no one shoots bad against the Blazers. It's impossible to shoot
Yeah.
bad against Portland.
that,
So
that's the
I
that's the
think that's actually the best possible matchup for them in the first round.
yeah.
They would have beat either of the three teams. This team will get their confidence up on offense. The
Yeah.
Blazers cannot defend anybody. They give up like 130 a night. Um,
I agree. That's one thing that I'm like kind of happy about is we will have I hate to just say that about the Blazers, but we will have another period to kind of revamp our offense against a bad defensive team, which will help. Kind of my biggest, I'll go into my biggest takeaways besides the annoying Avery Bradley about the revamp, and then we'll jump into our playoff picks. My biggest takeaway is AD has to be more consistent. I know LeBron struggled out of the gate, but then he got his consistency back. AD was kind of all over the map. He was dropping, what was it, like 25 in at halftime of one of the games, and then the next game he had like 7. Like
41 against Utah.
yeah, he finished with 41, but then the next game I think he had like 12. Like it was like something ridiculous. Like I know it's his revamp as well, but he's our second best player. He's got to be more consistent. That's my one takeaway.
The games I
Um,
watched, he kind of just looked like slow. Didn't really look like
yeah,
himself.
yeah, that was the thing. Like when he was on, he was destroying, but like he was killing it. But those games that he wasn't lighting it up initially, like he wasn't shooting, really well right out of the gate. He seemed sluggish. I mean, maybe he just didn't care. I wouldn't blame him, but that's a little worrying. Two, Kyle Kuzma is by far our third best player. I know, like, that's really not that questionable, but he's no question about it, our third best player there. So, um, he he had the game winner against the Nuggets. He also was just he was playing pretty consistent for most of the games, which is good to see. The only problem is he shoots it every time he touches the ball, which could could be a problem because like that's the one thing about my final
Gotta have that
point.
confidence.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, hey, he said he'll shoot over Jesus, so I'll give it to him. But that's
So the
the
Blazers going to give Jesus a 10-day contract.
I don't know. That's probably the best plan. But the thing, and this kind of leaks or goes into, I almost said leaks into, goes into my third and final point, is the ball sticks with him, which I don't like too much. Like I said, he gets it, he's shooting, which when he's on, I mean, and sometimes we need that. Sometimes we need the third scorer if AD and LeBron aren't in. But at other times, it's just like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Like, that's a terrible shot, which is concerning. Then my final takeaway, and I talked about this the first time, is Dion Waiters. And I know I do like to stand Dion Waiters, but it could just be because Rondo's not there, but he is by far our second best facilitator behind LeBron. By far. It wasn't really close.
I do think you need to stagger those two.
Yeah, he surprised me. He was horrible shooting. 3-pointers was terrible, but he can get to the rack pretty consistently, and he can finish really well, and he runs our offense opposite to Kuzma. The ball does not stick with him, which I really like. He was running our offense smoothly, and the reason I say he's by far better than Alex Caruso at running that kind of backup point is because Caruso, he can dish dimes, don't get me wrong, but he's not the one kind of dribbling the ball, kind of, facilitating the offense. He kind of just catches it, immediately passes it, or passes it to the right place, passes it to the cutter immediately. He's not necessarily dribbling it, cutting in with the ball, then kicking it out. He's kind of there to do the right thing, if that makes sense. Whereas Dion Waiters, he's the second best facilitator, and to me, it wasn't close, which is great for me because I'm going to cap for Dion Waiters this playoffs. But it's also we needed that, and he was a last second free agent signing, and he's by far our second best ball handler. I'll take it. Like, hey, that's a good signing, you know.
Yep.
So, any kind of closing statements on either Dion Waiters or anything kind of about the Lakers that you saw?
It's all about Dion, baby.
I think if we win the finals, it's going to be because Dion Waiters.
Yeah, well, sort of. It can be a different set of supporting cast for them every game because they just have so many guys that have performed well in those big moments.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it's J.R. Smith one day, if it's Dion Waiters the next day, if it's AC the other day, like, that's fine.
Yeah.
They just need to put some pressure off of LeBron and Anthony Davis.
Yeah, and now that we have Rondo, I think it'll be even better. So, yeah, I'm not too worried. I'd like to see us against the Blazers. Like you said, it's a good matchup for the Lakers to kind of get their offense back. But I'm not too worried. But with that being said, let's jump into it. So we'll kind of go into our playoff picks now. So we'll start off with Lakers Blazers, right? We'll kind of keep our picks short and just kind of go over, I guess, we'll go over how many games we think it goes and who wins and stuff. So I'll start with the Lakers-Blazers series. I think this is 4-2 Lakers. I know a lot of people thinking just easy sweep. The reason I don't think it's going to be an easy sweep is because of our offensive struggles. I think the Blazers may drop 130 on us a night, and I don't know if we can match that. You know, like I'm still a little worried. So I have 4-2 Lakers. What's your pick?
I'll say 4-1 LA. I think
Okay.
eventually they hit their stride on offense against them. The shots are going to fall.
Yeah.
And it's too much for Lillard and McCollum to handle.
Yeah,
also, Nurkic, who's been playing well, is going to be against Davis. And I
think they have no one. We were talking about this. The Blazers need a wing defender. They have no one that's going to stop LeBron.
Nobody.
Or Kuzma, for that matter. They have nobody.
It's funny. Their most reliable player would be like Damian Lillard.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think – so you have 4-1. I have 4-2. Yeah, I don't see it being too stressful. I just think the Blazers may pull out a game or two. Next, we'll go through the West and then the East. Next, we'll have the 4-5 matchup. So, Rockets Thunder.
My favorite one.
Honestly, that's probably my favorite as well, if not the Pacers Heat, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah, honestly, it's tied. It's tied.
We'll talk about that one. But on the West, this is by far my favorite. I think this one could be really close. I want to say 4-3 Rockets, but I'm going to go 4-2 Rockets. I think the Thunder will sneak out 2 games. And like I said, I would not be surprised if this goes to a game 7.
I'm going to take I'll take the Rockets in 7 games.
Okay.
I think Westbrook, do we know his status?
I think he might be out for the first game.
Okay.
But I don't think he's expected to be out much longer. But that's not confirmed.
He would play on anything, especially versus the Thunder.
Yeah. So I know he was hurt, but it's not confirmed that he'll miss it. It's just rumors that I've seen he could miss the first game.
Yeah, this is going to be. We both agree this is going to be a long series, and
yeah,
I just think the way the Rockets play, they're just going to eventually wear the Thunder out.
Yeah,
take 63s a game,
and
they'll hit on them probably 3 out of the 7 times, and then they'll just grind one out the 4th time and win.
Yeah. I think you had 4-3. I have 4-2, but like I said, I would not be surprised if it goes 4-3. I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to a game 7. So now the next one is Nuggets Jazz, the 3 and the 6 matchup. This one is also, the Jazz are good. They're not that good. I know when we were watching,
they played a tremendous game. I think that was in the middle of the bubble. It ended on like a Mitchell heave that almost went in.
Yeah,
double overtime.
Yeah,
crazy game. Jamal Murray's first game back, he was incredible.
They'll fight. The Jazz will fight hard. But I see this another 4-2. Possibly even a 4-1 Nuggets. I have Nuggets winning. I just, the Jazz, they'll scratch and they'll claw. You know, they'll. I don't see these as being blowouts. I just think the Nuggets are a much better team than the Jazz overall. So I think I gotta pick. I gotta stop wavering between 4-2 and 4-1. I just gotta pick. I say 4-1 Nuggets.
Wow.
What's yours?
I was going to agree with you in 6. Mitchell's really good, and they'll be hot shooting probably 2 of those games. So I say they take 2. The Nuggets are good, not great. It's interesting. Michael Porter Jr. How does he do after playing really well in the bubble?
Yeah.
Will that translate to the playoffs when things get a little tighter on defense? Doesn't have the quickest release from 3, so
Yeah,
will closeouts get better? We'll see with Michael Porter. He's probably the guy I'm looking at the most, at least in the Western Conference.
In terms of like the X factor. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now the final, we'll jump into the Clippers and Mavericks, the 2-7. This is going to be a lot more interesting than what I think the end will be. I think Clippers 4-1. I think it'll look bad, like if you just see on paper, they beat the Mavericks 4-1. But I think these games will be kind of close until the end, and then the Clippers will kind of step up. But I think they'll be high scoring. I mean, obviously it's fun watching Luka, but ultimately I think this will be a 4-1 Clippers. What do you think?
So you got the Clippers defense, which is incredible when they're on, and the Mavericks offense, which is like historic this year.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a whole lot of fun.
Yeah.
There's gonna be a lot of like rock fight games, and there's gonna be games that go, 138, 135. But I do think Clippers in 5 or 6 here. Clippers in 5.5. I can't really pick between those two.
Yeah, I was kind of between that as well. But yeah, I'm same boat. I think it'll be really entertaining, but ultimately the Clippers are just by far the better team. So I go 4-1. You go 4-1.5.
This is also like, if there's any team that will shut down Luka, it's going to be the Clippers.
Yeah, exactly. They have the wing guy. They have the height. They have the athleticism.
They're going to throw a really good wing defender at him all 48 minutes.
Yeah. I agree. I don't think that series will be too close. So now we'll jump into the East. We don't have to talk about this first one too long. The Bucks, Magic, 4-0 sweep Bucks. What's your opinion?
Magic in 4. DJ Augustine, 39 points a game.
Yeah.
No, Bucks in 4. Too much Giannis.
I don't think the Magic have a shot at even winning a game. I could be wrong, but we'll go into the next series. That one.
This might be pretty lopsided too. 4 or 5 is next, right?
Yeah, 4-5 is next. Pacers Heat. This, in my opinion, is going to be the most fun matchup. Just because with the Pacers now having TJ Warren and the Heat, they've always just been that sneaky good team, and they're fun to watch. This is going to be – I think this goes 7. I have Heat winning Heat 4-3 in the series. Game 7, I think all these games are kind of going to be a bloodbath. I think this is going to be the best series by far. What do you think?
I think Heat probably win in 6 or 7. Pacers, kind of like the Blazers in that they have 2, guard types that are going to take a whole lot of their shots. I think TJ Warren's going to come down to earth, especially with General Jimmy Butler.
Jimmy Buckets, yeah.
The Heat are just a little bit better. They shoot it like crazy. They defend really well. They're just a really good all-around team. They'd be a problem for the Bucks in round 2. I'm really high Heat right now.
Yeah, I think they're good. The only problem is you saw Derek Jones. He got carried off on a stretcher their last game. So he ran into I didn't see the highlight because they weren't showing it as a highlight, but apparently he got hit in the head on a screen or something. So he was carried off on a stretcher. I haven't heard anything since, but they
can absorb that loss, so they're pretty deep.
Yeah, but he's a pretty good player now. A lot of people, when he was just in the dunk contest, a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's just a dunker," but he's a pretty good player. So yeah, but I agree with you. I think they're pretty deep. So
all he can do is jump 12 feet in the air.
Yeah.
What else can he do?
Now you are a Celtics fan, so we're on to this matchup. Try not to be biased, but it's Celtics 3. Or Celtics are the 3rd seed. My bad. Sixers are the 6th seed. Sixers do not have Ben Simmons. For that reason, I have Celtics winning this 4-2. I don't think the 76ers are that good of a team without Simmons. I, I don't know. They could prove me wrong. The Sixers, they're one of those teams that their ceiling is incredibly high, but their floor, I feel like, is also they could fall flat on their face, especially against a very deep Celtics team. The Sixers are not that deep. I think Celtics 4-2. What do you think?
See, I think that's kind of common knowledge that their Celtics are deep. I don't think they are. I think they're going to have a trouble finding that seventh, eighth guy in the rotation. That being said, just a little bit too much scoring out of those top four. Embiid's going to be great, but I don't know if the Sixers have shooting around him.
Yeah.
The Celtics are going to be doubling all the time, just a different on the catch, before the catch. They'll throw everything they have at Embiid, and you need guys like Shake Milton or Josh Richardson, supporting guys, as well as like Tobias Harris and Al Horford to play well.
Yeah.
They just don't have enough. I don't know if they would have had enough with Simmons either.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Celtics. Another one of those 5.5. They either win 4-1 or 4-2.
Yeah.
I do like the way the Celtics are playing now. They're, I think, number 2 offensive rating in the bubble behind, of course, the cocaine Blazers.
Yeah. Yeah. I was actually going to ask you that. Do you think if the Sixers had Simmons, would it change much? I agree with you. I don't think it would have changed too much anyways, because he can't shoot. And I don't think it would have changed
much. They just have
much.
a weird collection of players this year.
Yeah.
They look very good on paper, but Horford and Embiid don't play all that well together. Simmons and Embiid do play well together, but mainly on the defensive side is where they make the more impact than offense.
Yeah.
The shooting just isn't there. Tobias isn't a great shooter. Richardson and Milton are shaky. Thibault's too young, I think, for this moment.
Yeah.
And
the thing is, though, when I watch the Celtics games, they have negative big men like that play defense. They have negative, like with Enes Kanter and Dice.
Embiid actually isn't a terrible matchup for Kanter. He's going to get a lot of minutes.
Yeah, he's big.
Kanter is not good. A lot of people that watch the Celtics hate that guy.
Yeah. No, I agree. He
plays Embiid fine. It could be worse. It could be a whole lot worse.
That's the one thing that I wouldn't be surprised if Embiid averages like 30, because you're
like
big.
Let him.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can let him, but your wing players are so much better than theirs. So yeah, I agree.
45% from 3 and just kill him.
Yeah, I have 4-2 Celtics, and you have what, 4-1? You said 4-1.5. Yeah, same page. Final. Raptors the 2 seed, Nets the 7 seed. So I'll preface this right now. I am not high on the Raptors. Sorry to Drake, not high on the Raptors at all. I think this is a sweep. I say that, though. I think the Raptors sweep 4-0. The Nets only have Karis LeVert. Outside of him at this point, obviously their reinforcements are coming next season, but at this point they only have Karis. The Raptors they're probably the deepest team besides the Nuggets in the entire playoffs. So I think they sweep them. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a couple games that are close, but I think it's 4-0 ultimately. What do you think about that series?
I say the Nets get a game. They're just weird. I don't think that's – I'm pretty high in the Raptors, but I think the Nets get a game. They will just play like Lions for one of those 5 and win.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if they win one, but if they win any more than one, they should walk out like they just won the championship, because, honestly, outside of Karis LeVert, who can you name on that team? There's
Cabarrot, baby.
There's Jared Allen. Jared Allen
can play. Joe Harris.
Yeah, Joe Harris. But
I really like what I'm seeing from Tyler Johnson.
He's he was an ex-Heat. He
played really well
against the Blazers, but they don't play defense. But yeah,
Celtics put up 149.
Yeah, that's the thing. The Nets, they just, with all their injuries, like I said, if they win a game, I'd walk out like he just won the championship, because honestly, that you got to have the takeaways, because their reinforcements are coming next year. And we'll actually, I have some takes on the Nets. So if you're, you stay tuned to the very end of this, thank you guys so much for watching. I am going to be releasing kind of my bubble hot takes here in probably next day following this video. So make sure you guys tune into that as well. Patrick will be on that there for that one as well. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you're, Lakers fan, even if you're not a Lakers fan, let me know what you guys think of the Lakers. Let me know what you think of my recap there, and let me know what you guys think of our picks. But I feel like for the most part, the first round, there's not going to be too many surprises. There's a couple of close matchups.
We agreed on all of them. I think we agreed on all of them.
Yeah, for the most part.
The one I might switch would be the Thunder. I think they could pull it off. But
yeah, the Thunder. The Thunder Rockets series and the Blazers Heat is the only one I'm kind of questionable on. But besides that, I'm pretty confident on the other ones. But as always, let me know what you guys think. Make sure you comment, like, subscribe on the video as well, and I will see you guys next time.